400 years adrift in space, and the hope that once drove us is fading. I'm Mark, the captain of the ship Dawnstar, and what began as a mission of discovery has morphed into a struggle for sanity. Each day blends into the next, the endless expanse of stars outside our viewing ports, a cruel reminder of the distance between us and home. My routine is methodical, a lifeline in the chaos. I check the ship's systems, monitor life support, and oversee the crew's tasks. But the isolation gnaws at us, eroding our spirits. I often find myself staring into the void, searching for answers that never come. The ship hums with an eerie quiet, the only sounds being the whir of machinery and the occasional creak of metal. Today, however, something feels different. As I walk through the narrow corridors, I notice the shadows cast by dim lights seem to stretch longer, as if mocking our plight. I reach the mess hall, where the crew gathers for their meals. The atmosphere is tense, conversations reduced to whispers. I catch snippets of unsettling talk, rumors about sightings of figures in the dark, shadows moving where they shouldn't be. I try to dismiss these thoughts, attributing them to the psychological strain of our prolonged journey, yet each crew member grapples with their own demons. Sarah, our navigator, has taken to speaking to herself, her eyes darting nervously as if she's expecting something or someone to appear. Tom, the engineer, has grown increasingly paranoid, checking the ship's systems multiple times in an hour, convinced something is malfunctioning. I can feel the tension rising, the invisible thread that holds us together beginning to fray. As night falls, the dim lighting casts a sinister pall over the ship. I gather the crew for a meeting, hoping to instill some sense of unity. "We need to stay focused," I start, but I can see the doubt etched on their faces. Their eyes, once filled with determination, now reflect a mix of fear and resignation. Suddenly, the ship's alarm blares, a piercing sound that cuts through the thickening air. I rush to the control panel, my heart racing. The readouts show a fluctuation in our energy core, a sign of instability. The crew shifts uneasily, eyes wide with apprehension. "Stay calm," I order, though my own voice betrays a tremor. The alarm silences, but the moment hangs heavy with unspoken dread. I realize that the threat we face is not just external, it's festering within us. The emptiness of space is beginning to consume our minds, and I must find a way to keep everyone united and sane before madness takes hold. The Dawnstar is a marvel of human ingenuity, a sleek vessel designed for exploration. Its corridors are lined with advanced technology, holographic displays that project navigational data, and life support systems that hum with efficiency. Yet, in the vastness of space, it feels more like a coffin than a ship. As captain, I carry the weight of responsibility. I joined this mission with dreams of discovery, the thrill of venturing into the unknown, fueling my ambition. But now, I grapple with my own past, the loss of my family, the pressure of leadership, and the haunting memories of Earth that feel increasingly distant. The crew, a diverse mix of skilled individuals, each have their stories. Sarah, once a bright-eyed navigator, harbors a deep-seated fear of the dark. Tom, the engineer, is brilliant but struggles with anxiety, often retreating into his work to avoid facing our reality. Then there's Lena, the biologist, who remains a beacon of hope despite the growing despair. She often shares her fascination with the cosmos, trying to remind us of the beauty beyond our current plight. The ship's technology, once a source of pride, now feels confining. The artificial gravity, life support systems, and communication devices are all reminders of our isolation. As we drift through the endless void, the lines between reality and hallucination begin to blur. I notice strange fluctuations in the ship's systems, unexplainable anomalies that no one can account for. Each unexplained event deepens the mystery of our environment, adding to the growing paranoia among the crew. With each passing day, the ship becomes a microcosm of our fears and desires, and I must navigate the complexities of our relationships while keeping the crew focused on our mission. The stakes are rising, and the consequences of our unraveling may be more dire than we dare to imagine. As the days stretch into weeks, the psychological pressure on the Dawn Star intensifies. We've entered a phase where the line between reality and madness is increasingly difficult to discern. Conversations among the crew have taken on a strange tone, filled with half-formed ideas and nervous laughter that feels forced. I can see the toll it's taking on everyone, and I know I must act swiftly to prevent a complete breakdown. One evening, while patrolling the engine room, I overhear Tom muttering to himself, his hands trembling as he checks the energy core. "It's not stable, it's not stable," he repeats, his eyes wild. I approach cautiously, unsure how to reach him. "Tom, we've run diagnostics. Everything checks out," I say, trying to reassure him. But he shakes his head vehemently, a flicker of fear in his eyes. "No, you don't understand. It's wrong. It's watching us." His words send a chill down my spine. I try to dismiss his fears, but deep down, I feel the weight of his paranoia creeping into my own mind. I gather the crew again, this time focused on maintaining morale. "We're explorers," I remind them. "We've faced challenges before. We can do this." But I see the doubt lingering in their gazes, and I wonder if my assurances hold any weight. In the days that follow, strange occurrences escalate. Shadows flicker in the corners of my vision, and the ship's systems experience inexplicable malfunctions. I find Lena in the observation deck, her eyes glued to the stars. "Mark, do you ever feel like they're watching us?" she asks, her voice trembling. I feel a knot tighten in my stomach. I can't afford to show weakness, yet the fear is palpable. As the crew's behavior grows more erratic, I realize I must take decisive action. I propose an expedition outside the ship to investigate recent sensor readings that indicate a nearby asteroid belt. We need to gather more data, I insist, though I can sense the crew's reluctance. It could help us understand what's happening. The expedition is perilous, and I know that venturing outside the Dawn Star could exacerbate our fragile state, but desperation drives me forward. As we prepare, I notice cracks forming in the team's dynamics. Sarah accuses Tom of sabotaging the ship, while Tom retaliates with accusations of betrayal. The atmosphere is electric with tension, and I fear that our unity is slipping away. As we embark on the mission, I can feel the weight of the unknown pressing down on us. The asteroid belt looms ahead, a chaotic swirl of rock and debris. The Rackham ship rattles as we approach, and I grip the control panel tightly, trying to maintain focus. But the cacophony of voices in my head grows louder, drowning out my thoughts. Each crew member's fear seeps into my consciousness, blurring the boundaries between our individual struggles. Just as we enter the belt, alarms blare again, signaling a critical failure in the ship's thrusters. Panic erupts, and I must fight to keep everyone focused. "Get to your stations," I shout, my voice cutting through the chaos. "We need to stabilize the ship." But as we navigate the treacherous debris, I realize that the true threat may not be the asteroids themselves, but the unraveling of our minds. As we continued our precarious journey through the asteroid belt, the tension within the Dawn Star escalated. The immediate threat of the failing thrusters was compounded by the growing rifts among the crew. Sarah and Tom's accusations had created a palpable divide, with Lena caught in the middle, trying to mediate. I could see the strain on her face, and it weighed heavily on my conscience. I needed to keep the crew united, but the emotional turmoil was becoming harder to manage. Meanwhile, I discovered that Lena had been conducting her own research into the strange energy fluctuations we'd encountered. She approached me one evening, her eyes bright with determination. "Mark, I think the energy readings might be linked to the anomalies we've been experiencing. If we can harness them, we could stabilize the ship." Her enthusiasm was infectious, but I sensed the urgency in her tone. Time was slipping away, and if we didn't act soon, we might lose control altogether. With the asteroid belt closing in, I felt a sense of pressure mounting. I decided we needed to work together on Lena's theory. It could be our only hope. I called for a team meeting, urging everyone to put aside their differences for the sake of survival. We can't afford to let our fears divide us, I implored. We need each other now, more than ever. As we began to collaborate, I noticed subtle shifts in the dynamics. Tom, initially resistant, started to share his engineering insights, while Sarah contributed her navigational expertise. The urgency of our situation was forcing us to reconsider our alliances and value each other's skills in ways we hadn't before. However, the underlying tensions remained. I could see the fear in Tom's eyes, a reflection of his past failures, and I knew that if we weren't careful, the pressure could lead to destructive choices. As we worked through Lena's plan, the clock ticked away, and I realized that every moment counted. We needed to harness the energy before the asteroid field became our tomb, or before the growing mistrust among us consumed our sanity. Just as I felt we were beginning to coalesce as a team, an unexpected event shook the Dawnstar to its core. As we maneuvered through the asteroid belt, a massive rogue asteroid collided with our ship's hull, sending us spiraling into chaos. Alarms blared, and the lights flickered ominously. I struggled to regain control, my heart racing as I processed the damage reports flashing on the console. In the aftermath of the impact, I turned to assess the crew. Sarah lay unconscious on the floor, and Tom was fumbling with the controls. Panic etched across his face. "Mark, we're losing power in the aft section," he shouted, his voice trembling. I rushed to help him, but as I did, Lena's voice rang out from across the room. "The energy readings, they're spiking." The revelation hit me like a bolt of lightning. The energy fluctuations we had been tracking were now swirling around us, drawn in by the chaos. "We have to harness it," I said, urgency flooding my veins. "It might stabilize our systems." But just as we began to set up the equipment, we were struck by another wave of energy, this one more intense than before. It surged through the ship, illuminating the darkened corridors in a brilliant glow. In that moment I understood. The anomalies were not just a threat. They were a potential lifeline. As I worked to stabilize our systems, I felt a surge of determination. This was no longer just about survival. It was an opportunity to reclaim our mission. But I also knew this revelation came with risks. Harnessing such volatile energy could lead to further instability, and I felt the weight of that decision heavy on my shoulders. I looked at my crew, their faces a mixture of fear and hope. "We have to be careful," I warned. "This could either save us or destroy us." As we prepared to tap into the energy, I realized that we were at a crossroads. The choices we made in the next few moments would define not only our fate, but also the very essence of our mission and who we had become. The energy we harnessed surged through the Dawnstar, stabilizing our systems momentarily, but the aftermath of the rogue asteroid impact left us shaken. As the lights flickered back to life, I turned to assess the crew. Sarah was slowly regaining consciousness, and Tom was visibly shaken, his earlier panic replaced by a dawning realization of our precarious situation. Did we just survive that?" Sarah asked weakly, her eyes darting around the room. I nodded, but inside, I felt the weight of uncertainty. The energy fluctuations had calmed, but the atmosphere was still charged with fear. "We need to regroup and assess the damage," I said, trying to maintain a sense of authority. However, the incident had revealed deeper truths about our relationships. Tom, who had been so caught up in his paranoia, now looked at me with renewed determination. "I should have listened to Lena earlier," he admitted, his voice steadying. "We need to work together, not against each other." Lena, standing by the control panel, smiled faintly. "We may have found a way to stabilize our systems, but the real challenge lies ahead. We need to learn to trust each other." Her words hung in the air, a reminder of the fractures we still needed to heal. As we moved to repair the damage, I felt a shift in the dynamics. The chaos had forced us to confront our fears and vulnerabilities, drawing us closer together. But I also sensed the underlying tension lingering, a reminder that the threat of madness was never far behind. The consequences of our actions had created both new opportunities and new dangers. We had survived the initial crisis, but the road ahead remained fraught with uncertainty. I knew we had to remain vigilant, for the emptiness of space was still a formidable enemy, and our greatest battles were yet to come. As the Dawnstar drifted deeper into the asteroid belt, the challenges we faced became increasingly daunting. Harnessing the volatile energy had stabilized our systems, but it had also awakened something within each of us, a realization that our survival hinged not only on technology, but on our ability to work together. I found myself reflecting on my role as captain. Initially, I had led with a firm hand, believing that my decisions alone could steer us through the chaos. However, the recent events had shown me the importance of collaboration. Tom, who had once been paralyzed by fear, emerged as a crucial ally, using his engineering skills to create a makeshift energy stabilizer that would help us navigate safely through the belt. I leaned on his expertise, acknowledging that I couldn't do it all myself. Meanwhile, Lena had been tirelessly analyzing the energy patterns we had encountered. I watched her confidence grow as she shared her findings with the crew, her enthusiasm radiating like a beacon. "If we can predict the fluctuations, we can use them to our advantage," she explained, her eyes alight with purpose. I realized that my role was to empower her and the others, to encourage their contributions to our mission. One evening, as we prepared for the next leg of our journey, I gathered the crew in the mess hall. "We've faced the darkness together," I began, my voice steady, despite the tremors of anxiety beneath. "But we must remember that our strength lies in our unity. Let's draw on each other's skills and trust in our abilities." The response was immediate. Tom shared his plans for the stabilizer, while Sarah offered navigational insights that could help us dodge impending obstacles. I felt a surge of pride as I watched them collaborate, their fears beginning to dissolve in the face of shared purpose. However, as we approached the heart of the asteroid belt, I sensed that the greatest challenge was yet to come. The energy readings fluctuated wildly, signaling a buildup that could lead to catastrophic instability. With this knowledge, I rallied the crew for one final strategy session. "We need to be prepared for anything," I warned. "This will test us like never before." In that moment, I understood the depth of my transformation. I had shifted from a solitary leader to a captain who valued collective strength. I could no longer see myself as the sole protector of our mission. I had become a facilitator, a guide for my crew. Together, we had grown, overcoming our fears and forging bonds that would carry us through the impending storm. The atmosphere aboard the Dawnstar crackled with tension as we prepared for the climactic confrontation with the unknown. Forces lurking within the asteroid belt. I could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on my shoulders, but I also sensed an undercurrent of determination among the crew. We had come too far to falter now. In the days leading up to our confrontation, we worked tirelessly to strengthen our defenses and optimize our strategies. Tom's energy stabilizer was finally operational, and Lena's predictions about energy fluctuations had led us to develop a navigation protocol that would allow us to ride the waves of energy safely. Each crew member played a vital role, and I felt a renewed sense of hope blossoming within me. As we approached the center of the belt, the asteroid field loomed larger, a chaotic mass of rock and debris. I gathered the crew one last time, my heart pounding in my chest. "This is it," I said, my voice steady but tinged with urgency. "We've trained for this moment. We know our strengths and weaknesses. Trust in each other, and we will emerge stronger." Sarah stepped forward, her brow furrowed in concentration. "We have to keep a close watch on the energy readings. If anything changes, we need to react quickly." Her words echoed my thoughts, and I nodded in agreement, grateful for her insight. As we entered the heart of the asteroid belt, the ship shook violently and alarms blared. The energy spikes were off the charts, and my instincts told me we were on the brink of something monumental. "Steady," I commanded, gripping the control panel. I could see the fear in my crew's eyes, but there was also a flicker of determination. We were in this together. With the energy readings fluctuating wildly, the ship's systems strained under the pressure. I could feel the tension in the air, a palpable mix of fear and adrenaline. "Prepare for adjustments," I shouted, directing the crew to their stations. The time for action was now. As we navigated the treacherous terrain, I could sense the approaching storm. The energy around us crackled with intensity, and I knew that whatever lay ahead would test us to our limits. We had faced our fears, but we were about to confront something far greater. I was ready to lead, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we were on the cusp of a monumental shift. With a deep breath, I steeled myself for the challenges that lay ahead. We had come together as a team, and now it was time to face the unknown. The culmination of our journey was at hand, and I knew that our choices in the coming moments would define not only our survival, but the essence of who we had become. As we plunged deeper into the heart of the asteroid belt, chaos erupted. The ship vibrated violently, and alarms screamed, drowning out all rational thought. I fought to maintain control, my hands gripping the console as we dodged massive boulders hurtling toward us. "Tom, adjust the stabilizer," I yelled, my voice barely audible over the cacophony. "Trying," he shouted back, sweat beading on his forehead. Lena monitored the energy readings, her face pale but focused. "We need to ride the wave." I could feel the tension building, each passing second heightening the stakes. The energy around us intensified, swirling like a tempest. "Everyone, brace for impact," I commanded, knowing we were on the precipice of something extraordinary. Suddenly, a massive asteroid collided with our aft, sending us spinning into the void. I struggled to regain control, adrenaline coursing through my veins. "Hold on to something," I shouted, the crew scrambling to find their footing. Just as I thought we were lost, I remembered Lena's insights. "Follow the energy," I urged, navigating toward the surging waves. As we rode the energy currents, the ship shot forward, narrowly avoiding collision after collision. I could see the determination in my crew's eyes as they rallied, their fear transforming into resolve. "We can do this," I shouted, my voice rising above the chaos. In that moment of clarity, I felt the bonds we had forged, the trust, the teamwork, propelling us forward. But as we approached the eye of the storm, a sudden wave of energy surged, threatening to engulf us. "Now!" I yelled, and we activated the stabilizer. The ship shuddered violently, and for an agonizing instant, I feared we wouldn't make it. But then, the energy coalesced around us, forming a protective barrier. My heart raced as I realized we had harnessed the very force we had feared. The storm dissipated, revealing a serene expanse of space. We had faced the darkness together, and through our unity, we had emerged victorious. As we took a moment to breathe, I knew this was just the beginning. Our choices had transformed us, and I could see the growth in each crew member. Together, we had conquered not only the external threat, but also the fears that had threatened to tear us apart. As the storm settled, the Dawnstar emerged intact, the crew breathless yet triumphant. I looked around, seeing determination etched on their faces. Tom, once paralyzed by fear, now stood resolute, ready to tackle the next challenge. Lena beamed with pride, her research validated. Sarah, who had fought her own battles, found solace in our unity. We had faced the darkness together, and the bonds we forged would guide us forward. With newfound strength, we set our sights on the stars ahead, ready to uncover the mysteries the universe still held, transformed by our journey and united in purpose. Months later, the Dawnstar charted a new course toward unexplored galaxies. Our harrowing journey had reshaped us. We were no longer just a crew, but a family. News of our survival and discoveries sparked interest across Earth, igniting a renewed passion for exploration. I stood on the observation deck, gazing at the vast expanse, reflecting on the lessons learned. We had faced our fears, conquered the unknown, and discovered the strength within ourselves. The universe was still full of secrets, and as we ventured forth, I felt a sense of hope. Our true journey was just beginning. What did you think of our journey through the cosmos with the Dawnstar? We'd love to hear your thoughts and interpretations of the challenges we faced. Share your insights with us. If you enjoyed this story, don't miss our next adventure, where we delve into a newly discovered planet teeming with ancient artifacts and enigmatic life forms. Click now to explore a tale that promises to expand on themes of discovery, resilience, and the bonds that unite us. Join us as we continue to navigate the wonders of the universe together.